little fight on the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. This piece is from Pierre Poliver's Facebook page. Link as always will be on my site. I have highlighted the first part of the audio because this will give you an idea of this guy's background. In other words, a complete embedded Toronto-based liberal communist. Canada is infested with communists in all its great municipalities in every part of the country. But it's important to note as well that when one department is responsible for one thing, that doesn't count according to the liberal communist math. Here's the piece.
How many years did you spend on Toronto City Council?
I spent 8 years on Toronto City, just short of 8 years on Toronto City Council.
I'm just looking at a study done by the City House. How many years did you spend on Toronto City Council?
I spent 8 years on Toronto City, just short of 8 years on Toronto City Council.
I'm just looking at a study done by the City Howe Institute, an organization formerly headed by your Liberal Finance Minister, Bill Morneau, and it shows that the increased cost of housing in Toronto due to municipal regulation and red tape is $168,000. In other words, red tape that you helped impose in the City of Toronto increases the cost of each single house by $168,000. When I found out, Mr. Vaughan, that you were here to testify about housing, I assumed that you were coming to apologize to all of the people who lost out on the opportunity to live near where the jobs and the opportunities are because of all of the red tape that you imposed in increasing the cost of housing. And so now on the issue at hand, You've said that you've said that you have this system of triaging the illegal border crossers after they enter into Canada. How much money has been spent by your government on busing illegal border crossers from one place to another?
I will defer to the department that spends those dollars to give you that answer. But in terms of terms of the issue that you're raising,
the question is how much has been spent on busing?
Well, the issue of transportation of people from point of entry and to safe housing is not part of the ministry that I work for.
Well,
so I won't have
you're
those
responsible for the housing portfolio,
That's right.
Are you not?
That's right.
Okay, so you're saying busing them to the housing is not your responsibility. You don't have any knowledge of how much that costs.
It's not it's not a budget line that appears in the briefing notes that I've been
so
prepared.
You don't know because it's not in your briefing notes. Next question.
Well,
you said that earlier today we learned that there are about 800 illegal border crossers who are staying in dormitories on campuses. Students will soon return to school, and those illegal border crossers will be evicted from those dormitories. And we learned this morning they will be moved to hotels. That is the government's plan to house these illegal border crossing. How much will it cost to house the illegal border crossers in hotels in the coming year?
Well, that decision is a decision that's made by shelter services in a place like Toronto, and in particular with those individuals. But hotels
who
are being
will pay
used.
for it?
Hotels, well, it'll be paid for by all three levels of government jointly.
And how much will it cost?
Because currently, right now, the City of Toronto's claim is that there's a $65 million price tag to the surge that's been experienced this year.
Right, but my question, with respect, Mr. Vaughan, our time is very limited.
Yeah.
You're responsible for housing.
Yep.
You're here to testify particularly on the illegal border crossers. Your government has made the decision to house these border crossers in hotels once they're evicted
it was a joint
from
decision
dormitories.
by all three levels of government.
How much will it cost?
The City of Toronto has said that the cost pressure they're facing is in the area of $65 million. What they haven't done is broken that down as to family and individuals. It is families that are being housed in the student shelters, in the student residences, and the use of hotels is now about 20 years. We're about 20 years down that road, and those costs have been folded into both the social service transfer, the HPS dollars, the $23 million a year that comes to the City of Toronto.
How much will it cost?
Well, the trouble is that the breakdown on that population includes all families seeking shelter in Toronto, not just immigrant, refugee,
so you
or
don't know how much
seekers.
That will cost? You don't know how much
this
it will
is part
cost?
of the reason why we need more split out statistics, which the province has and is withholding from us, and which the city has and hasn't shared with the province.
Right.
And so what we're said is that we assume and we accept that there is a federal responsibility and role here. We have a $40 billion housing program.
Whoa, hold on. Let me just play that again for you, that piece. Just that one piece, which is just brushed over, and that's B with a billion.
We have a $40 billion housing program. The goal here is not simply to house people in hotels; it's to move people into proper housing.
Yes, and sorry, with respect, you already gave your speech. You already gave your speech.
Well, I'm answering your question.
You're not answering my question. The question was very simply, how much will it cost?
I would just remind both the witness and the member that to speak one at a time would be helpful for the interpreters.
Mr. Chair, the question was how much it would cost to house people in hotels. The witness has now said that he does not have an answer to that question.
That's not what I said. I was answering your
want
question.
to move on to another question then, if he cannot answer that one. He's indicated he does not know the cost of busing people from the border to their next location. He does not know what the cost will be to house them.
You're putting words in my mouth, and I refute the conclusions you've reached with your own facts.
My question then is, how many illegal border crossers have entered into this country since your government took office?
Again, you're asking deliberate questions that are outside the area of responsibility. You're asking questions that are outside. You had the Minister of Immigration coming next. I'm sure he can give you those answers. My responsibility to this is to the housing file.
My questions are very narrowly focused on the facts. I've asked the member who's responsible.
They aren't narrowly focused on the ministry I represent.
Speaking
That's
on behalf of the largest department in the Government of Canada, Employment and Social Development. He is responsible for all the housing programs and social services that are related to the entry of illegal border crossers into this country. I have asked him, what will be the expenditure cost to put people in hotels? What will be the cost to bus them around?
As a foreign
I've
minister
asked
in the
him
department,
if he even knows how many illegal border crossers have arrived since since his government has taken office. And so far, he has not been able to answer a single one of these questions.
So what does count? Well, that's to hide the total cost of the illegal invasion into our country from the most welcoming country in the world, the United States of America. Why are we allowing illegal border crossers to stay in our country? Doesn't make sense, does it? Why would they be fleeing across America's northern border while at the same time pouring across its southern border? The two actions are, quite frankly, incompatible with the truth, and the federal Liberal Communist government of Canada is lying to you about it. You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all my morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio, that's EHRADIO, A Radio, and please click on the like button. And you can find all my podcasts and morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com and click on the Morning Moments tab.